Inside here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
Memories. Memories.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven.
no one to necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
SKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Nambler, immediately comes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CGL. Here we are in week 5. We are in the open tier, and tonight we've got 2-2 Romance Dawn going up against Subsun. I'm Shadowfang2. I'm going to be your caster here tonight with Mega Ninja over here to my right. If I actually point, do it a little bit more right there.
Hello.
How you doing tonight, Mega Ninja?
I'm doing great. I'm in a little bit of a more scuffed setup than normal, but I'm still excited to be back for CGL. I'm hoping for a really good match tonight. It's been a while since I've been on the scene, but after the midseason tournament, we'll have to see how these teams kind of come back from that. Those who didn't attend, those who might have gone in and won the whole thing, So we'll have to see how these two teams after that midseason have adjusted, and also with the new patch dropping, we'll have to see if the meta has been shaken up any bit.
Yeah, I will be surprised to see any major changes, just because, like I said, I think the patch was a real nothing burger overall. That's my expectation. But like you said, Romance Dawn 2-2 did not make the midseason tournament. Subsun lost to Primordius Rising in the midseason tournament, and they made it a decent ways too. I believe they made it into either the semifinals or the finals. I can't recall which off the top of my head right now. But really strong team in Subsun. A lot of CGL regulars here. Romance Dawn has some CGL regulars there as well, but Romance Dawn really, I think, needs this victory tonight.
Yeah, I think that, as you did say, the patch was kind of a nothing burger, if I may say that as well. I'm not going to steal your line, but I do quite like that. But no, I think it's definitely going to be a lot of D.Va. I think that D.Va is in an incredibly strong state right now. I mean, there have been countless. Also, there's a really weird bug that's been going on. I don't know if you've caught this on any of your casts, but whenever D.Va gets multi kills, it double counts the amount of kills that it gets. So the bot or the voice above will be sextuple kill when you kill 2, and you're just well, wait a minute, that's not right. But so that's been throwing me a little bit. But no, I think that D.Va is incredibly strong right now. I think the Kiri Lucio, the backline of all time. I like LeBron and that one guy from the Heat. I forget his name because, of course, I did at the right moment. I made the analogy. But and then in terms of DPS, I think Sojourn, I think Emre is also incredibly strong right now with the buffs that he received. And then in terms of flex, Tracer, Vendetta, those are definitely common choices. And I don't think we're going to see anything outside of the meta unless these teams are more comfortable on other characters.
Yeah, I think comfortability could play a factor here, but with it being the open tier, there is also, comfortability actually could play a big factor with Subsun. They have a player that really likes to play Joker Queen, if my memory serves me properly. But enough about that for just the first moment. I do want to announce that our first map, you can see it right behind us right there, is going to be Lijiang Tower. First map is always pre-selected. And then from there on out, every team that loses will be picking map type and then the map itself. So, it'll cancel out that map type once you get hybrid, that sort of deal. So what do you think about Lijiang Tower, Mega?
I like Lijiang. I think it allows a lot of versatility in terms of compositions. I think all of the submaps, you can kind of play different compositions on them. I think that, they allow things like that Zarya Vendetta, if you want to go for more of a brawl composition, but you can also run things like that D.Va. You can run more of those dive compositions, depending on the submap. Obviously, with Control Center, that's definitely more of the brawl type heavy stuff that we do see. We see the Ramatra, we see, maybe a Symmetra. I know a lot of teams like to run the Symmetra also on the market one, I believe that's its official
Night Market.
name.
Night Market.
Okay, yeah, Night Market. Thank you. But I think that it allows a lot of versatility, and it's not like Circuit Royale where you kind of expect the comps to be something like a Sigma with double hit scan, something like that, right? So, there's a lot of options in terms of what Romance Dawn could ban out here. They can definitely target one of those tanks if they're not comfortable on that Zarya. They could ban out the D.Va if they're terrified of that being a problem. You can look at the Sojourn or the Emre or the Vendetta if you're not comfortable playing that Vendetta. Or if your backline, you want to have a little bit more fun on the backline, you can definitely ban out that Kiri or the Lucio to kind of shake things up a little bit here.
There are quite a few options, as you mentioned. I'm going to shout one more. I've seen a lot of teams ban Tracer on map 1, and I don't know if we're necessarily going to go the way of doing that, but Reaper actually going to be the ban. I was telling you before we got on, I'm telling you, Reaper is in a really solid spot right now. Ever since Vendetta got that 10 damage nerf to her overhead swing, oh man. And then, as I was just hearing in my ear, Maple, also a very, very strong Reaper, so that's a little target ban right there for you.
Ooh, okay, target. Yeah, I am looking at the Subsun team sheet right now, and I do see that they do play that Reaper a lot, and also their tank looks to play a lot of that Junker Queen, which I think is in an interesting position right now. I don't think that's one of the more common options in terms of the tank. I think they're not in the greatest of positions right now, but definitely an interesting one if they do want to run that Queen. I think that the ban from Subsun, if you are going to run something like that Queen, could be somebody like that Zarya. I think bubbles are such a big problem. Or that Kiriko. I think Kiriko or Zarya are definitely bans if you want to run that Junker Queen. Yeah, so there's going to be that Zarya ban right away. I think Zarya is a really strong choice. And it plays against your Junker Queen incredibly well. So I think that both of these are really, honestly, really good in terms of the bans coming through.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because you always think of the Zarya Reaper combo, but Reaper can also just obliterate Zarya very quickly. So if you just have the Queen and the Reaper just getting rid of those bubbles very, very quickly, I can see why you would want to get rid of the Zarya if you don't have the Reaper on your side. And it also pretty much gets rid of the option of playing that Vendetta comp as well.
Yeah, the Vendetta is definitely a lot weaker without that Zarya, enabling you to kind of just feed your brains out if you're that Vendetta. You could just kind of just swing in and you're like, all right, I'm expecting a bubble right here. If you don't give me that bubble, then you are the problem. So yeah, getting rid of that Zarya, it definitely does prevent that from coming into play. You can still play that Vendetta, but it's a lot less likely. But I think that these compositions that we'll be seeing are definitely going to be differing from what we see normally in the meta.
All right, so we got some rosters on the screen here. Romance Dawn, we're going to have Syria, XY, Ref on that DPS line with Sad on the tank. And then you got Haunt and Pika Pepper running that support line. And then for Subsun down there, I'm seeing we got NDY and Maple running that DPS line with M21X. You mentioned they are very strong on that Junker Queen, so I would not be shocked to see that. And then DBRX and Patico running that support line. Patico, I saw them make some very silly plays on that Jetpack Cat the last time I casted Subsun. So it wouldn't surprise me if we start to see a little bit of shenanigans at some point in time throughout this map.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely something that to be considered. I think that those are both really good options. We'll have to see, of course, what they decide to roll out on. Of course, we can never really take the preferred heroes at face value because, sometimes we see that Mercy being hovered, but of course that's, the last time I saw Mercy was in 1964 at the very beginning of, the time. So we'll have to see if those come out today.
I'm telling you, I've seen the cat. It came out on Circuit Royale, though, which was the strange one. And they were using it to pick M21X over the wall on Circuit Royale and dropping Queen with a Genji, I believe, over the side of the wall. And just 3 of them were just running down people. So that I don't know if we're going to see it this map, though. I expect to see the Kiri Lucio as just a default here. But we are getting into our first map. It looks like it's going to be Night Market. And immediately here, what are you thinking of these comps, Mega?
I always hesitate a little bit whenever I see the comps in spawn rooms for control because I don't think we'll be seeing the Widowmaker. I don't think that'll be an option that we'll be seeing. We'll probably be seeing them swap over to that something like a Tracer. But really interesting to see the Junker Queen mirror. Not something I expected all too much of, but and also a very interesting backline for Romance Dawn, not running that Lucio. So we'll have to see if that plays into their advantage or against it.
And we will have to see how it goes, but right now it looks like both these teams just kind of sitting in the midpoint, poking at each other. Not too much going on just yet. See XY Ref looking for a, just some sort of angle here. Maple on that, and the first kill does come out. You trade it out though for Sad, and this is not looking good for the side of Romance Dawn as they just get wiped off the map almost immediately right there. I mean, what even happened right there, Mega?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It just seems to be like a little bit like they got to point first on Subsun, or sorry, Dawn did at first. But then it didn't really matter all too much because the side of Subsun was just able to kind of get rid of. Oh god, that's a really bad opening pick here for Subsun. This definitely allows Romance Dawn to kind of engage now, considering they are down that Sojourn who can provide so much pressure, and the cooldowns out of the Venture as well provides a little bit of interesting development. And this should go the way of Dawn if they play their cards correctly.
Oh no, Maple is still available though, forcing out that immortality field early. The override protocol is online, and Maple gets another one, but Maple gets traded out in the process. Looks like Syria gonna be trying to go for this flank on this Emeray as the two queens just kind of trade damage into each other. Sad managing to get that kill is exactly what you want to see though, and there it goes, getting traded out. The override protocol does come out as well and does catch on to one, and Syria with another one on this Emeray. I mean, my goodness, just lasering down targets all throughout this fight.
Yeah, and those are also really good late kills, right? You have to realize that now they have to wait for those respawns to kind of come through. They can't engage as fast as they may have wanted to. And now you look at the ult charges for both these teams. Subsun coming up on so much right now. They're going to be coming up on pretty much 4 ults. And Romance Dawn, they did pop that override protocol, but if this pulse bomb can go massive here, then it could change the tide of how this next engagement can go, and you can even out the percentages.
It looks like the side of Subsun is just having to back up right now as Sad is trying to engage. The ante is big time, though, as the rampage from M21 is huge. But M21 dies in the process. Sad gets traded out. Pataco goes down immediately after, though. And it is trades galore here. Syria still alive, though. And as long as that Emeray is still alive, you're in danger if you're Subsun right now. And there it is. Romance Dawn does manage to take that fight. And, I mean, it only cost them a Kitsune rush. I would say that's a pretty good fight win if you're Romance Dawn.
Yeah, now here's the real problem is the fact that Subsun has that beat online, but since Romance Dawn's not running that Lucio, you don't have anything else to really counteract that. You're just going to have to pray that their beat is not going to be as fat as they might want it to be. But whoa, a lot of damage onto Sad is going to take him out early in this engagement, and this is already a down advantage. We'll have to hope. This overclock is a little expensive considering they were down their tank already, but I'm not a hater of it if they can get these late kills. And it's going to be a reset for Subsun. Or for Romance, excuse me.
No, overclock's not too bad there because, again, you still save your sound barrier. You've got that tectonic shock as well. Not a super impactful ultimate, but just being able to have those cooldowns come back faster, I imagine that's the perk that came out at least, will be huge. And there goes the Suzu. Sad going in with that rampage and then immediately dying. That's exactly what usually tends to happen in these moments. Maple immediately taking down Pika Pepper as well. I mean, Maple just has crazy good aim with this Venture. That's a 3K. Do I hear 4? And no, I don't, because NDY gets the final blow on that one. But that is going to be first map going in the favor of Subsun.
Yeah, and here's the problem with not running that Lucio is that you can't really play fast. Like, even if you do win fights, the side of Subsun can just get back so much faster than you on that BAP. They're able to re-engage as fast as possible with all 5 of their players as long as, they're on speed mode, as if they can amp speed especially. And you just saw at the end there, Romance Dawn had 2 of their ults still available on the board. They weren't able to pop that pulse or the window, and window, not the greatest of ultimates. I think especially against a comp like Subsun is running, it just kind of gets run over sometimes. So I think a good swap over to that Lucio is going to be allowing Romance Dawn to kind of even things out here.
I definitely am in agreement with you. This swap will help a lot because especially having that amp matrix, it doesn't really do much for the comp that you're playing, like you were saying. But I mean, Maple been an absolute menace on this Venture. You take away the Reaper, and then what are they going to do? Just hop onto the Venture and get the same level of value. All right, first fight kind of happening on point here. NDY just immediately takes down Pika Pepper early. I mean, that is not good. But Syria trades it out for Maple, and down goes DBRX as well. The trades are just coming through for both sides. I mean, Syria has just been crazy on this Emeray, but NDY says, hold this. And Pika Pepper comes back and says, hold that boop real quick. I mean, my goodness, the trades are just going back and forth, back and forth. No team can really take control of this point right now. You know, M21 just continuing to be alive on this point, getting these kills and just living on this Junker Queen, being a real problem right now. Oh no, Syria gets booped off the map, and that's definitely going to confirm it for the side of Subsun. You're just going to need somebody to actually cap the point there, as Maple is going to do. I mean, my goodness, the boops just coming for both sides there throughout that entire fight. I mean, that was a crazy first fight, Mega.
That was a really insane and long, fast fight, despite the fact, or first fight, excuse me, because despite the fact that Sad gets taken in the first, Syria and the Tracer are able to just find so many individual picks that it kind of evens things out and allows them to contest the point. But now Subsun has the advantage in terms of ultimates, especially since Sad swapped off. But nice kill from Syria yet again, despite him dropping low, is going to allow Romance Dawn to push up yet again. They just have to hope that Sad doesn't get taken down here and maybe can build up some ultimate charge here.
Yeah, you are definitely trying to do that, but, you know, getting taken down by Maple once again. Like I said, Maple just a real menace on this venture, just living at like 5 HP right there somehow. And, I mean, this is the boop map, and we've already seen, like, what, 3 or 4 boops already? But Subsun going to be taking that fight once again. I mean, it's really just going all the way of Subsun right now.
Yeah, Subsun just have absolute control right now. And look at their ult charges right now. They have pretty much 3 ults on the board. They have 3 ults on the board, and Romance Dawn, they're behind in terms of the ult charge. They're gonna, you know, maybe build them up in this next engagement if Subsun don't play fast enough. But if they play fast enough, they can stall out another 20, maybe even 30% here and force it into last territory for them. Force all the ults up from Romance Dawn and then win a couple fights later.
They absolutely can. Rampage comes out from M21X, and I mean, it's absolutely massive. That's 4 kills coming through already. And I believe the point flipped somewhere in the meantime there, the touch coming through from Ref and flipping that. Yeah, you save your team 7%, so that'll at least make this probably not, this will make this not an overtime touch at the very least. I think that's really what you did for your team right there. You just made this more of a full regroup type of fight.
Yeah, but now Subsun still have 2 ults. It's sniped off the map. That's such a bad pick, and that's going to allow Subsun to push up so much. And now Ultimate's not going to be able to be used, and it's 99%. And you have a beat online, but he Ajax. Oh, days, 94, and it's over. I mean, Subsun just won on that pick on the Sad.
Yeah, that was kind of a crazy pull by M21, and I mean, there you go, Subsun taking map 1. And you can see, like, why M21 is just always on this Junker Queen, right? People have a very hard time dealing with it. So usually they try an either mirror or they try an Orisa or a Diva, right? We saw the mirror on first point. It went decently well, I would say, for Romance Dawn. And then on the second point, they tried to go Orisa and play like more of a counter style. It did not go nearly as well for them there.
I think the problem was, like, in that first round, you were just on such a slower comp, especially with that queen on the enemy on both sides. You kind of need that Lucio to go with that queen. It complements them so well, and it allows them to play so much more aggressive. You know, you have shout, you have speed, you have amp. I mean, so many like options in order for you to cross the map and get to your opponent as fast as possible. And when you're on something like, you're just not able to do that. And then you have your window, which doesn't do anything into the comp, especially if, you know, depending on how close you want to play. I mean, it's not like a queen is going to sit behind a window and shoot through it. That's just not how queen's going to play. I guess, yes, you do get in front of it, and then you get healed up a lot. But, I just think the beat was a lot better there on that first round. And then, of course, the second round, just, some unfortunate picks and better ult economy, I think, and the swap with Orisa was way too late. Romance Dawn had a couple of backsteps, but I think they can do this now. I think they can understand what to do differently.
It really felt like, as survivable as Orisa is, that is not what we were seeing in any way, shape, or form. It seemed like the team survivability of just having the shout and just the lifesteal of Queen seemed to be just benefiting them more. But, I mean, if this is the case, where do you think Romance Dawn might try and go for map number 2 here? Is there, like, any map in particular that really sticks out to you that is like, hey, we can maybe force them away from this playstyle?
If I had to think of one, I would definitely think that maybe you take them to more of a dive-ish map. You could take them to somewhere like Dorado. You could go somewhere like... Paraíso potentially, take him off of that, take him off of the map that favors the queen so much, take him more to a centric map. It doesn't even have to be like a dive like centric. It could just be like a dive favored map, right? I was gonna say Gibby, and Gibby's out of the map pool.
It is.
Unfortunately, I miss Gibby every day. But I think that there's definitely options if you want to go for more of a dive composition and you try to force them off of that super aggressive composition with that Kiri Lucio Queen kind of composition. And so, definitely you can try to slow things down. Maybe you ban out the Lucio, maybe ban out something like the Queen, and then you take them to a dive map and you kind of see how Subsun plays around that. Kind of, go from there.
I think that's pretty much your two options here, right? You either go to a map where dive is preferred, you force like a Rialto, you force like a Paraiso, like you mentioned. I can't believe someone's going to willingly pick that map. It's a wild concept to me, but it does fit in this case. Like you force a map like that, or you play a map that doesn't force that and you ban the queen, right? That's I think is your other option. You go Suravasa and you don't ban queen, so you force like a different composition to be played on that map that may favor you more so.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. I just think the queen was such a problem. It was really surprising for me actually to see that knife off the map as an Orisa, considering you have things like the javelin spin and the fortify. The fortify is definitely the main part because like fortify just kind of negates anything that boops you. So like if you get a knife, if you get a knife in you, you kind of just like use fortify and walk past bridge. But I guess maybe that cooldown was already used or something like that, and it was recognized by the other team. But I think that things can definitely go the way of Romance Dawn. I think I think the first map is always kind of a feeler map. You kind of figure out what the opponent likes to play. You kind of like to see what what their preferences in banning, what they like to play in general in terms of like tank wise, in terms of backline wise. So now the ball is in Romance Dawn's court, and they can go anywhere they want, and they get first ban. If I remember correctly, I think that's okay. Yeah, all right, just making sure. So I mean, the car is like they have their hands on the steering wheel right now. They can take us wherever they want in the map pool, and I think that a dive map is definitely preferable.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with you there. I think you pick either one of the, like I said, either one of the two dive maps or Suravasa, and you ban out. So there you go, Hollywood. Hollywood is more known as a dive map, typically speaking. This is a point in time where I think you can save the queen ban for a different map. Now, is Romance Dawn going to do that, or are they going to also ban the queen as well? I never know, right? Because in my mind, when I see the Hollywood pick come out, I'm like, okay, this instantly means that you're now going to ban something else, right? Maybe you ban Sojourn. Maybe you ban Venture, because that Venture did seem to be a problem from Maple. Like you have a couple of options here. What are you feeling though, Mega?
I think something to consider is potentially a tank protect ban. I think what you want to do here is maybe you ban out something. Maybe you do use that queen ban this round, just so that the side of Subsun doesn't ban something like that Diva that you could be running, or the Winston that is so incredibly strong on something like Hollywood. I think either of those are incredibly strong options. We'll have to see, of course, what the thought process is from both of these teams. I think that a tank protect in order to secure more of those dive-ish tanks is a smart idea, but of course getting rid of that Venture is a good idea. Maybe forcing them to a more traditional flex DPS. Venture I think is incredibly strong, but not as strong as some other options like Tracer, like Vendetta. So I think Romance Dawn's going to be banning out a DPS or a tank here. I don't think we'll be seeing a support ban from them.
I tend to agree with you. So Sojourn, that makes sense. You were running the Emre that whole first map. The other side was not, so let's just get rid of it. Let's force the Emre mirror. We feel like our player is stronger on that hero, so let's just force it. Does, however, leave open the option for Subsun to ban out that Diva, which I think would probably be the go-to ban here. I don't know. What are you thinking?
I think a Diva ban is like a must, honestly. I think a Diva ban is the smartest play here for Subsun. If you want to, kind of force, if you're not comfortable feeling on those dive tanks, D.Va is just in an incredibly strong spot right now. You kind of just pick a target as D.Va and just say, okay, I'm going to go kill that person right now. And then you fly at them at Mach 12 and then blow them apart with your rockets and your boosters. So I think a D.Va ban, incredibly strong. It kind of forces them to play something like the Winston here, which is not, I think Winston is a pretty, I think he's in the upper echelon of tanks, but he's definitely not as good as something like a D.Va. Maybe like a Hazard ban. That one's a little bit more niche, depending on what kind of dive tanks you play. But I wouldn't be surprised. I think D.Va play is the smartest and strongest ban.
I mean, I tend to agree with you as well. Seems like everybody likes the D.Va a little bit more as far as playing it. It doesn't take nearly as much coordination as it does to play Winston, so it's a lot easier to just get stuff done by yourself. You don't require as much teamwork to run that comp as well. And it looks like Subsun, they hit that little extend button so they could just get a little bit more time to try and get this ban in.
Is that a thing? Is there
no, I'm being
I'm being
smart.
That'd be so cool. That would be so cool.
I'm being smart right now.
Okay. Oh no.
They don't have like a deal or no deal style like this.
No, I do.
They just press the button, you know?
No, they're okay. There's the D.Va ban. Okay, we knew that coming 18 nautical miles away. I think that's a really incredibly strong ban. I think that was the only option there in terms of getting rid of that when they got rid of that Soj. But we're now gonna have to see, what Subsun wants to play in terms of this dive composition, or are they gonna do something like force that Junker Queen, even though they're not as strong on something like Hollywood? That's the real question.
It's incredibly possible that they just continue to force this queen. I'm trying to think. I literally watched the Subsun game. I don't recall seeing M21 on anything but Junker Queen the entire time. Maybe they played something else, but I think this might just be another queen. We're going to force the queen some more. That's my expectation, at least. Maybe we see something different. Hey, maybe we even get to see Emre come out from Subsun this time.
I think that's a good shout. I think it's a good idea, especially. But Emre with the lifesteal from the gun does so much, right? I think that's something that a lot of people aren't considering, but it is a really good strong option if you don't, if your Sojourn is lacking a little bit, that Emre is a really good substitute. I think you have the range that you do on Sojourn. You don't have like the one-shot possibility, but I think that the option for an Emre over a Soj is definitely, comparable. And so I think that if you do have that Sojourn out, it does for something like an Emre. Maybe there's a case for like an Ashe if you don't feel comfortable on the Emre. But there's not a lot of hit scans that you can kind of use other than Emre if the Sojourn is taken off of the table.
Yeah, this isn't a close range map either, so I wouldn't expect a cast. Like, we could potentially see something like that on like a Surabasa. If this exact same thing happened on Surabasa, you might see that. But we're on Hollywood, so like you were saying, I expect either Emre or Ashe from the two hit scan players. Ruby has been subbed in for NDY, so Ruby, incredibly strong hit scan player as well as an incredibly strong tracer player, so we could see crazy plays on either one of those two heroes this map.
I think both of those are really good options. I think that those are pretty strong in terms of what's playable here. I think, having those niche characters can help you out on occasion, but we'll have to see, of course, if they do favor those, if they do want to go over to those. But we'll just kind of have to see what these teams like doing, what they like running on. How in tune are they with what they want to play here? How comfortable are they on something like this map? Because I don't think I see all too much Hollywood. I'll be honest with you. So we'll have to see, what the plan is for both of these teams as they go in.
Now, typically the pick is King's Row, but that was only in the first half, right? So now we're in the second half of the season. We got all these different hybrid maps. It's gonna be really interesting, like you said, to see what is Romance Dawn going to do, right? I'm fairly certain of what Subsun is going to do. I think it's going to be the exact three heroes you see right there, and then Kiriko Lucio. I think that's what Subsun's going to come out on. That's my expectation. What I'm curious about is, what is Romance Dawn going to do? Is this where we see the Hazard potentially, just so you have that high ground mobility? Or are we going to see the Orisa come out again to try and just duel the Brawl that's potentially going to be coming here?
Yeah, Doomfist, for that spawn position is definitely interesting. Sad on the Sigma is also an interesting choice. I think you like running more of those dive tanks, and Sigma definitely more of a poke option. And as we do see Romance Dawn, Syria, I'm really surprised by the fact, because they were doing incredibly well on the Emre, and now they're, I'm a little perplexed by that one. I think the Emery's in a better place. But of course, we'll have to see, you know, how long they want to run out on, how they're feeling on something like that. But that's not my favorite pick in the world, that Ashe, but we'll have to see. And the Winston also from Subsun is going to be a topic starter.
Ruby, a well-known Widowmaker player, so no surprises here. Now, whether they stay on this for the entire map is up for discussion. We will have to see. Because really, you're just looking for that opening pick. If you're Ruby, you got good shots, good angles right there. But you are going to have to back off. M21 just setting up for this dive. That's the thing that takes the longest on Winston. You have to set up for so long. And in the process, you lose your Kiriko to Syria. That's the downside of, you know, playing this Winston comp, is it does take that long to really set up. Ruby does get the pick onto Ref though, and Sad trades out M21 immediately. So, I mean, if you're Subsun, you probably just want to back out of this right now before you lose any more players. And there you go. That's fight number 1 basically. It was pretty much done as soon as DBRX went down.
Yeah, I think that is a really big problem. Oh, and now this Widowmaker. Oh no, I almost said got staggered out, but not really. And now this Winston that can re-engage if they so choose to, and I don't know. It's gonna be a little difficult to do a Winston dive when you don't really have anybody to dive with, except for maybe the Reaper if you're good enough with him. But I mean, right now a lot of space being made by this Winston, and so this could be going the way of Subsun as long as. Oh, never mind.
Great accretion coming out there from Sad to finish that kill off. And that's another thing about having to deal with the Sig shield. Did that rock just like hit the teleported thing and then he fell over after he teleported? Is that the sequence that I just witnessed happen? Because that's what it looked like.
You know, I think that rocks are... He controls gravity, right? So like he can kind of just really do anything he wants because he can kind of just break all the rules of
Physics.
Of physics and all that. So like he can really kind of just do anything he wants, right? Like that's lore accurate, right?
Yeah, very true, very true. Gravitic Flux is going to be online, and here comes the Gravitic Flux out early. M21 going to be forced to pop that primal just so they don't die. So that is some good value there. And Syria taking down Pachko is not good as well. M21 decides to stand in front of the Amp Matrix while primaling, and that is not going to make you stay alive very long. Still no capture percentage. And honestly, that was pretty expensive for the side of Subsun. Like you don't want to spend all those ultimates and then just not really make any progress.
Yeah, and also something else to talk about is the fact that Romance Dawn didn't really use anything. They used the Amplification Matrix and also the Gravitic Flux, but you know, you can build up that Amp Matrix incredibly fast, and having that Bob still in your back pocket is something that really strong. But Subsun have both of their support ults, so you know, if they get a well-timed beat here with an engage, then there's a really good chance that something can go their way. Oh, but Maple doesn't get it, and they are going to get some people on the objective, but that Bob on the high ground is going to be causing some issues.
I mean, the sound barrier comes through, and you're still getting these trades. M21 has swapped over to the Sigma as well, just going for that mirror. You know, M21 is eventually going to go down here. There's just nothing you can really do about it, and we're down to 44 seconds now. Subsun does have their Kitsune Rush and that Death Blossom, but I mean, Romance Dawn has held on to Pulse Bomb and Captive Sun. That Captive Sun can be absolutely devastating. Now, there's no sound barrier for it.
Yeah, and now here's something to think about is the fact that Subsun doesn't have a hit scan. So who's going to contest this Ashe? That's going to be a little bit of a problem here for Subsun, right? What are you going to do with that? You're going to just have to get close with your Tracer, otherwise you're going to get shut down incredibly easily. But we'll have to see as this next engagement goes underway. A lot of ults on the table here for both of these sides, and
Kitsune Rush does come out. First tick comes through. The Captive Sun going to be shot off by Haunt. Pulse Bomb gets a double kill, though, onto the side of Subsun. You lose DBRX. But wait a minute, Maple popping off as well. But no, it's looking like it's going to be a full hold. One tick does come through, but Romance Dawn holds strong.
All right, Romance Dawn, all they have to do is get a single tick on the board. They have the power, they have the time, they know exactly how to play. Because, you know, Subsun can't really run that dive. You've understand that. You found that crack in the armor. And so now if Romance Dawn play fast enough, if they do play that dive better than Subsun, if they can get onto that cafe height with the majority of their players, and they can get, even if they do a dive and it fails, but they get like maybe like 2 players, maybe even 3 players on a bad day, then or on a good day, then they can just respawn faster. I think their spawn is closer, and then you kind of just force them to kind of play for touches there. So this definitely favors Romance Dawn. It's their map to lose, and we'll have to see if they can make this as a 1-1 series.
And on the other side of that coin, if you're Subsun, you can still win this map. As absurd as it kind of sounds, you can still win this map. And it looks like Maple has decided that they are definitely going to be winning this map, because we're going to get the Galactic Camo Bastion out here. And we're going to really just get some toxicity going in the lobby right now.
Yeah, the Bastion mirroring is going to be very interesting. I wonder if, maybe we'll get a cat going and we'll just like fly them around everywhere. That'd be kind of fun. I don't know if I love these plays. I don't know if I love this comp from Subsun in order to hold this. Maybe Ruby can go for some nice headshots on that Widowmaker, but they weren't able to find that much on the attack, and so maybe the defense definitely favoring the Widow more. But we'll have to see as we go into our first fight here. They have 3 minutes and 45 seconds to get the job done. Can they find that tick? We'll see here in just a couple of minutes.
There we go. Ruby just looking for some shots on this Widowmaker. Nobody peeking just yet. Very smartly. And nobody really taking any damage just yet. XY Ref has flanked around on that Tracer, though. They're already in position. Just looking to get some of that poke in. Trying to do something. But that pylon being up is going to be a problem and has to be dealt with. The Immortality Field already getting forced out. That's very early for that, honestly. And M21 dropping down is not looking too good. Ruby does trade out one, but I mean, there you go. That was a cap. I didn't even realize that cap just happened right there. Romance Dawn evens up the series at 1 apiece.
I swear to God, I closed my eyes for half a second and I woke up. That was definitely one of the more interesting maps here in terms of how the situation goes. But at the end of the day, good job from Romance Dawn in order to make it a 1-1 series. And so now Subsun, their weakness has been attacked. They can't play the dive from what we've learned, and so now we're gonna have to hope that Subsun can, maybe if they lose another map, then it's gonna be a little bit of a problem, because then if they win map number 3, then it'll go back to Romance Dawn, who can play against that advantage. And so, then it gets a little bit complicated from there. But I think Romance Dawn played that perfectly well. A couple of interesting comp choices, but hey, I can't beat it. It worked out in the end. So, shout out to Romance Dawn, and they make it a 1-1 series.
Yes, Romance Dawn, Mega Ninja cannot beat your comp. So we are out here tonight. Oh my goodness. All right, so it's tied up 1-1 series, but we are about to go to our halftime break real quick. So, just stick around and we will be right back in about 5 minutes or so.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours.
All right, everyone, welcome back from our break. We are here still in the open tier, still watching Romance Dawn and Subsun. Now it's a 1-1 series, though. You know, very competitive series so far, in a sense at least, because it feels like, I don't know, you tell me what you think after this, Mega, but it feels like we had Subsun absolutely dominate map 1, and then Romance Dawn absolutely dominated map 2.
I mean, I think we just kind of, I think Subsun is a brawl team. I think at the end of the day, they play the brawl incredibly well, but once they're taken off that brawl map, they go somewhere like Hollywood, somewhere like Dorado, they get forced into that dive composition, and then it becomes a problem, right? They can't play the Winston, the Diva ban was so they can't really do anything in terms of, winning out that dive. They tried to swap to the Sigma to mirror, but they just couldn't get it done, and so, they got full held essentially. And so right now we've seen the weaknesses of Subsun, but now they have control, right? They have decision about what map they want to go to, what first ban they want. So obviously, we're going to be going to a brawl composition, brawl map, like the new Junk City that does allow that Junker played out. And now can Romance Dawn, what do they do now in order to, win against something like against this Queen composition that's incredibly strong?
Well, Subsun being the losers of the last map, they are going to get first ban here. And I believe this is where you were talking about those protect bans earlier. I think if I'm Subsun, I'm going to just go ahead and ban either Orisa or Sigma. And I'm going to protect my Queen, give us the ability to just continue running that Junker Queen on this map. I don't know, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I always try to protect my Queen at all points. Ladies, be sure to hit me up. No, I think that a Queen ban is a smart, or a Queen protect is a smart idea. I think that getting rid of those other tanks, maybe taking that Orisa off the board, the Domina is definitely an option. Yeah, there's an Orisa ban right away, so that's not going to allow Romance Dawn. That's going to allow Romance Dawn to not be able to ban out that Queen and have to save it for another map. And now they have to look at damage or support. And you can't ban the Reaper. Maybe you ban out like I don't know. You ban out here if you're Romance Dawn. I'll be honest with you.
No, you're in a really tough, precarious position, I'd say. I don't know. I'm gonna just say ban Tracer because I know that Ruby likes to play Tracer. You actually ban the Lucio, which does make sense. Romance Dawn tended to not want to play the Lucio. I'm just so used to defaulting to Lucio on this map, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, Romance Dawn didn't want to play Lucio map 1. So now you've removed Lucio from the equation entirely. What I would say, this kind of evens your chances out as opposed to what we saw on Night Market of Lijiang Tower, where it was just wholly in the favor of Subsun.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The Lucio ban is smarter. It does allow them to kind of slow down their composition a little bit. Go for those things that might not be favoring the side of Romance Dawn. They're allowed to play that back. They're allowed to do things that they weren't able to do really beforehand, and so now they have the advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see something like that Kiriko Wu Yang, honestly, from the side of Subsun. That doesn't sound like a bad option to me, honestly.
We could see that Sig comp come out again, since speed is completely just removed from the table, essentially. We could see the comp we saw them play Hollywood. I'm predicting that they're probably going to opt for a more Zarya-based composition, like Zarya or Diva. Maybe even Ramatra, that could be an option as well. But let's see what we're seeing preliminarily, and it looks like Romance Dawn is looking at components of that old Dallas Fuel comp with the Zarya and the Bastion, which could be good. You're going to be able to burn down somebody very, very quickly if you just catch them out with that Bastion. And inside of Subsun, they're going to be opting for the Juno Brig comp, just so they can still have that speed. And here we are, gates opening in 3, 2, and 1. Here we go, New Junk City.
Something I want to talk about real quick is, you did say speed was taken completely off the board, but that Juno does allow it. But the Juno is such a not practical position right now when something like that Kyrian is on the table, and so is the Lucio. And so there's definitely going to be questions about if it's going to be playable. We'll have to see if those swaps come through and see how this first fight goes.
I mean, Pika Pepper's already down, and there's another one. I mean, Patico just getting busy on this Brigida, and now if you're Subsun, you can kind of just play this really aggressively. Now, maybe not. What am I talking about? Syria takes down Ruby in that process as well, but Subsun has already capped the point. If you're Romance Dawn, I almost feel like you shouldn't necessarily fight this just yet. You should. Oh, wait a minute. What do I know? Maple going down to Sad. Sad just full beam on this Zarya, but Patico continuing to be a menace, taking down Ruby on that Brigida. And the flip does come through at 31% for Romance Dawn.
Yeah, that's a really good start here for Romance Dawn. They do lose that first engagement, but they come back incredibly fast, despite their comp being so incredibly slow, and they're able to take it back pretty much as soon as they get it taken away from them. So now, you know, you have to be careful about the Zarya, because with the Zarya bubbles, it you know, kind of silences things like the axe. Something like that could be shut down so incredibly easy if the bubble is applied correctly. So you have to be a little careful if you're the side of Subsun. You have to make sure you get cooldowns out before you go for an incredibly fast engagement. But I think Romance Dawn have the advantage right now, especially with a pulse advantage compared to Ruby on that Tracer. But we'll have to see how this next fight goes.
I mean, Maple just getting so much damage in on that Venture and just popping a bunch of targets up to be killed. And there you go. That's going to be just a complete team wipe for the side of Subsun. Ruby cleaning up those last few there. And I mean, just what a great play from the Venture of Maple, quite honestly. Just popping all those players up in the air like that seemed to just set them up for all the kills.
Yeah, it was an incredibly smart play from everybody involved. I think that everybody played exactly what they needed to. They, you know, get an engage going with their Venture. And then they're just able to kind of pop up and get so much. But now the percentage is still in the favor of Romance Dawn, and that's a really nice pick, however. So that is going to stabilize them a little bit, and now they can push up with this aggression, and they could potentially close out this first point right here, right now.
Yeah, I mean, M21 popping the Rampage. In the meantime, Kitsune Rush comes out from Pika Pepper, and the rally response from Patico, I think that's a really smart response just to try and make sure you're able to sustain everyone through that. Patico does go down to Sad in the process, but like I said, it gets traded out immediately. And it looks like this first point, as soon as Ruby can finish off that kill. Wait a minute, we have another touch. Any more touchers? That's probably a wrong thing to call people. Wait a minute, I shouldn't be saying that. There's going to be one more touch. Syria trading out Ruby and Maple. They end up dying in the process, but there you go. Subsun taking the first point, regardless of the touchers.
Regardless of getting touched, yeah, no, Subsun is going to get that job done. And now Subsun really have a tough fight again ahead of them. They are going to be down one ultimate. But, you know, Subsun, they can play slow. They have the point advantage right now, so if you force ults out of Dawn, and Subsun can kind of just, you know, like take a step back and force all these ults out from Romance Dawn, then they can really be in a good position for the fight afterwards, considering this flashpoint hasn't even opened yet. You just kind of have to make sure not to over ult or over invest in terms of shattering your economy. Well, that's three.
Pulse Bomb does go awry, and Ruby immediately takes down Syria. And I mean, DBRX just getting all the kills on this Juno right now. And the follow-up coming through from the entirety of Subsun, and that's a tough fight to lose. You pop that Amp Matrix, you pop the Overclock, and the Pulse Bomb, and nothing came out from Subsun. You just lost in the neutral with 3 ultimates. That is a crazy fight to lose.
That is worst case situation for Romance Dawn. They pop 3 ults to lose the fight, and Subsun only pops. Did they even pop anything? I don't even think they popped anything.
I don't think they popped.
So like this is such a bad situation for Romance Dawn. They have nothing to really push the aggression with. This graph has to go absolutely massive. And it connects onto both of the supports, and you are able to get both of them out, but you're already down 2. I don't know, man. This is a problem for Romance Dawn.
Yeah, this is a definite problem. You already lost both your DPS. M21X does get traded out. Ruby looks for that pulse, doesn't get it, but does get the final blow onto Sad right there. The trades were nice, definitely. It's going to allow you for, like, I think a better recontest where you can potentially force Ruby off this point and maybe get this point flipped. But Subsun will be back shortly, and they've got this Orbital Ray ready as well.
Yeah, the Orbital Ray is going to cause problems to happen. 91% and counting. You did force out a couple ults there from Subsun, but the Ray is going to be back just as fast, and Subsun have all the aggression that they need. And if they can get a couple kills here, yeah, that's it. Bam.
Well, that happened. That is one of the fights of all time that just happened in Overwatch.
If you blink, you'll miss it.
That might be the fastest singular team fight I've ever seen happen in this game. That was insanely fast, and that is a 2-0 lead for the side of Subsun, looking more like their dominant selves now that they're able to be back on this Queen comp that we saw them do so well on Lijiang Tower. And here we are, heading to the next point. Rampage online, Tectonic Shock getting close on that rally. There is a Kitsune Rush available from Pika Pepper, but I don't know if that's going to be enough here.
Yeah, Pika Pepper, this rush has to go absolutely massive. You have to win this fight with that only. Otherwise, I think this might be over. You cannot get traded out. You cannot overult. Subsun has all of the advantage in terms of positioning, in terms of ult charge, in terms of, map or in point percent, and so this rush has to do something. And right now, it's not looking like it's going to do anything besides allow that first cap.
Yeah, it looks like the side of Subsun is going to back up, and then they're looking to re-engage here. Patico looking with that rally. Pika Pepper does take down Ruby. That could be incredibly useful. DBRX going down. We're starting to look pretty good here, but the Rampage coming through from M21X. They're looking to get some kills on this Junker Queen. Smartly turning around and getting that health back, but the pylon is just doing a little bit too much right now. M21 gonna stay alive. Wait
why
a
would you
minute.
slide away from it? Why would you slide away from the pylon? That's scary. The kill comes through, but nice 2 kills from Haunt, but it is going to be finished out. Oh, M221 is going to be taken out of the engagement. Also, this could go the way of Romantic Dawn if they play fast enough, because it's just 2 supports left on the point. They can probably just offer some percentage, but Eesh, I don't really know what else you're supposed to do here.
Yeah, it's looking like that is eventually going to go the way. Wait a minute, Maple's here. Maple's here on Venture. Does die before they get to Burrow, though. So point does eventually flip. You get 42%, though, if you're Subsun, and it didn't really feel like they won that fight at really any point in time. So you'll take that if you're the side of Subsun.
Yeah, and so now 64% and counting for the set of Romance Dawn. They have a lot of ultimates coming up online here, but Subsun, they can lose a point here. They're still up 2-0 right now. So if you can kind of ruin the ult economy a little bit for the side of Romance Dawn and then, win the next engagement. Here's the overclock. Let's have to see how massive this one is.
Syria looking for some shots on that overclock. Maple does go down to the melee of Haunt. I mean, Syria taking down M21X. This is definitely going the way of Romance Dawn. And the ult economy did not get messed up. If anything, it got messed up for Subsun. Subsun not looking too good. That Tectonic Shock went off at some point there for Maple, so now they just don't have it for this next point. And look at the ult economy for the side of Romance Dawn.
They have so much in their back pocket. Syria is just doing so much on Sojourn. This guy is ridiculous at this hit scan roll. This grab online they don't have anything for it. Oh, this is like oh that's so girthy. Oh, it's so girthy. Get involved. Oh, and there you go. Great play immediately from Romance Dawn, comboing that grab with the Pulse Bomb, taking down the entirety of Subsun. I mean, if you're Subsun, you're at least happy to get 2 ultimates out, but, still, you've got the Captive Sun, and you've got this Kitsune Rush that you still got to deal with. You have an Orbital Ray that can potentially match a little bit of what the Kitsune is going to do, but I don't know. This is going to be tough. You really just need to get in and try and force these ultimates out of them if you're Subsun. That's got to be your priority. Captain Sun does come through here. Oh my god. Haunt looking for some shots. Does not manage to get any, but Syria getting a couple. Pretty sure, yep, I thought that's what happened. It looked like we saw some players fall off the map right there. Romance Dawn going to take that fight as well, and it only cost them the Captive Sun. Yeah, not a bad fight to lose from the side of Subsun. It did force a couple of ults out from the side of Romance Dawn, but I mean they're evening this up incredibly fast. They're gonna get one more touch here from the side of Subsun, and they need to actually start winning some of these fights like they were in the beginning. But we'll have to see, of course. Oh, okay, there goes Pika Pepper.
Yep, Orbital Ray and Kitsune both coming out. Maple already taking down 2, Patico taking down another, and that's going to be point flip coming through for the side of Subsun. And I would say this looks pretty positive for them, honestly, because just look at the ult economy. They have all these ultimates online. If Ruby can just land like a really sick pulse bomb here, it could be everything.
Yeah, 99% and counting for Romance Dawn. Subsun have to hold out as much as they possibly can. And they are coming up on 3 ults, and the ult economy does seem like it's favoring Subsun here a little bit. But if they play fast enough, they can definitely kind of cut off this backline here. You know, oh, nice pulse bomb, and that's going to be both of the supports already down. There's a Queen ult. I don't...
Well, I
love
mean,
that.
well, you know, it happened. M21 used the ultimate, and it happened. All right, so there it was, the ultimate of all time.
It did happen. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for calling that. That ultimate had happened. Okay.
It did. That is
Oh.
what that ultimate occurred in the game of Overwatch.
Was utilized.
Yeah.
Okay. Fury has to go
Tectonic.
absolutely massive with this overclock here, or else we're going to be in a little bit of a predicament here for Romance Dawn.
Last fight, somebody gonna have to touch. Touch does come through. The overclock popped from Syria, and they just immediately getting jumped by both Ruby and Patico. Maple popping that tectonic shot, getting one, and there goes Sad off the map. Pika Pepper still alive, as well as XY Ref. This point, still in control of Romance Dawn, does flip, and there goes Maple getting that kill onto XY Ref, and that is going to do it for our map. That is going to be Subsun taking the 2-1 lead in this series.
Yeah, really good play from Subsun then. It got a little scary towards the end of that map. You know, they did lose that first point, and then it did go up to 99% for Romantic Dawn. But they got the job done, right? At the end of the day, that's all you really need to do. Really good stuff from them. I'm really surprised that it got as close as it did, but they got the job done at the end of the day. But now we're going to be in a similar situation that we were after map number 1, in which Romance Dawn can take them to another one of those dive maps, and then we got more problems to come because, you know, what are they going to play when they have to go to something like the Diva, something off of the Junker Queen at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think this is going to definitely be escort. There's no way you pick push here, I don't think. I think you 100% are going to go for a Dorado or a Rialto. That's got to be your pick here if you're Romance Dawn. I suppose you could go Esperanza, but I think you can still force Queen on Esperanza. So that's why I say I think you kind of get push over to the side. Or you could do, you know, play some 5D chess and pick Esperanza and ban Queen, right? You could do that too. The Queen ban is still available. It was not used at all. So, you know, that's still on the board.
Yeah, the Queen Band still being on the board is incredibly strong to think about for the set of Romance Dawn. You still have that in your arsenal. There's only like 2 more maps left at the max. So, I don't know. We'll have to see at the end of the day, you know, where Romance Dawn wants to take us, where Romance Dawn wants to ban out, what they want to ban out, excuse me. But now, you know, then we're going to be back in a position where Subsun is just going to take us back to another brawl map, and then they're just going to run Queen again, right? So this is becoming a problem here for Romance Dawn. They need to win this. I think they need to win this next map without banning out the Queen, or they need to win out this next map and then pray to God that the map that they go to last isn't a Queen map. But that, yeah. I think you need to do the first option.
I'm telling you, man. Pick a push map, ban Queen. That has to be your play right now. As silly as it sounds, right? Because then you're leaving them with escort, Dorado, Havana, Junkertown, Rialto, right? I'm taking my chances at them playing Queen on any one of those maps. So that's why I'm saying you take the push, you ban the Queen. You're playing 5D chess here, right? And if you're not doing that, then you're just gonna pick like Dorado immediately and not ban Queen. So that's the other option, like I said. So I am going to be curious to see what Romance Dawn decides on. And it looks like they are going to be going with that first option I mentioned, Rialto. So here we are. Rialto going to be the map choice here. And they're also going to have first ban. So what are you feeling here for first ban, Mega?
Okay, this is good, I think, because it doesn't force the Queen ban. So now you're like, okay, we need to ban something out. In terms of, dude, I think the tank is such an important piece of the puzzle, right? From this matchup, but I don't know, right? You're running out of options. Subsun has banned out pretty much every tank. I guess you haven't banned out a tank yet. So maybe, I'm going to ban. Is it crazy if I ban out Is it crazy if I ban out the Kiri? Is that crazy?
I was thinking Brigida, just based on
Okay.
that last map and what we saw from Patico. My guess is Brigida. I don't think Kiriko's a bad choice either, necessarily. But I think getting rid of Brigida will help you with playing Diva over playing Winston. But there's the Kiriko ban. So, same sort of concept there. Get rid of the Kiriko. We're not necessarily playing it like Subsun is, so let's just get rid of it.
Yeah, I do like to self-proclaim myself as the greatest analyst CGL has to offer. So yeah, getting rid of that Kiriko, definitely what I would have done in that situation, and I'm hoping that more teams will recognize my sheer genius. If I could toot my own horn here a little bit. But now Subsun, I think you need to ban out. Well, you can't ban out this. Can you ban out the Sojourn? You can't ban out the Sojourn. You can ban out the Sojourn. Okay, you get rid of the Sojourn, or you get rid of the Ashe, Emre, or Sojourn from the side of Subsun. That's my pick. That's what you're banning out.
I'm gonna actually guess Sigma. Ashe. That makes sense.
That's why I'm the best analyst. One day you'll pick it up. No, it's not a big deal. No, I think that's a smart idea. It kind of shuts down what Serbia's been doing. Kind of just been going absolutely crazy on this hit scan. I think it's an incredibly smart play. There were other smaller, stronger options. Get rid of maybe that Sojourn or that Emre. But they seem comfortable on the Ashe. They ran it on Hollywood. We'll have to see if that plays in their favor, or if it's going to go to a map 5. That's the real question. Is this going to go to a map 5? As we do see another substitute for Subsun, we are going to see NDY in. What you know more about this team than I do. What does that tell you about what comp they're going to be playing?
You're looking at it actually. That's that's it. They're gonna play Sojourn Tracer. That's why they might throw Ruby on Widowmaker, but NDY only really played the Sojourn on map number 1, so I would expect them to continue to play that Sojourn as they did on map 1. Ruby, as we know, a Tracer player and also a hit scan player, so yeah, we could see Ruby pop out on that Widowmaker for just a little bit, because Rialto can be a decent Widowmaker map, but I would expect Sojourn Tracer primarily for most of this map.
Yeah, I think that's good, especially with the Ashe ban coming through. I think it does kind of force you onto that Sojourn, just the stronger of the hit scan options. You can't really run something like a Cass on something like Rialto. So I think the Sojourn is a really smart pick. We'll just have to see what kind of. I think the real question is, what tank is Subsun going to run? Are they going to force that Queen, or are they going to try the Diva?
I would expect to see like a Diva. Oh, wait a minute. This is where we're going to actually get to see the cat, maybe. I think the cat might come out here. We might get to see some cat shenanigans here tonight. I'm really hoping for it, too. Romance Dawn, though, going to be going for this Diva, Ana, Iari. I don't think I've ever seen that combination of supports. But, I mean, Haunt has been really killing it on that Iari.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. What I'm really interested in is this Widow mirror. You were talking about Ruby on that hit scan doing incredibly well last time you saw them, but they weren't able to really pop off so much on Hollywood. So now we're going to have to see, is Syria going to be able to do the things that Ruby has been, foretold to do?
We will have to see that first engage coming through here. Ruby being dragged around by Patico on this jetpack cat. Here we go, the flank of all time. Syria taking down NDY in the process, though. This is like the longest flank ever right now. Oh my goodness. I can't believe this card is moving. Ruby does take down Syria, but Patico goes down, so now Ruby is just stuck wherever on Earth they might be right now on this Widowmaker.
Every angle is a good angle if you're on Widowmaker, surely, guys, surely. So now they're going to be in a little bit of a dire situation, but they still find one onto Haunt, but they are going to be taken down in the end, and so now it is a little situation advantage here for Romance Dawn. They have closer spawn, and they just need to stabilize a little bit and stop this card from moving, as they are getting some pretty nice progress on the side of Subsun, but I think this should go the way of Romance Dawn in terms of holding it.
Yeah, it's just going to be like a slight little team reset. It's looking like Patico trying to grapple onto somebody, catching XY on this flank. I mean, this cat does a surprising amount of damage. M21 having to back off on this Doomfist. You're not really going to be able to dislodge this Diva, so you're going to have to go for one of these backline kills. Syria just getting free shots onto the enemy team. Not managing to get any of those limbs yet, but there's one on the DBRX. Can we get a second one? Patico does eventually go down, and that's both your supports down, but Ruby immediately trading out Haunt as well. Infrasights are going to be used from Ruby, but I mean, if you're Subsun, you should probably just back off right now.
Yeah, I think that you have to back off. I think there's no other option. You can kind of try to do some. Oh god, Ruby's in such a bad position, but he's gonna be able to get it out for now. And actually, now Sad is in a bad position, gonna be taken out of that mech, and so now all the advantage goes to Subsun. I really thought that was going the way of Romance Dawn, but with this baby diva dead, they kind of have all the space right now.
I mean, this should be an easy cap coming through. I can't believe that punch didn't land. That is some crazy work right there. NDY going down, and the Nano coming out as well onto XY on this Tracer. M21 on point, just blocking. But I mean, that survivability, that's everything. Just being able to stay alive that long just saved your team on first point.
Yeah, and now the Diva's back. A lot of the health bars are low. However, for the side of Romance Dawn here, they need to get this Diva out of mech if they want to keep pushing up. But they just can't, right? This Doom has to do something here, and they're able to find one onto Haunt, and there's the bomb, but the pulse comes through, finds the Doom, and now they don't have a tank on the side of Subsun. There's another pick from Siri. He's so incredibly good at this hit scan, and going to be another hold. And oh, no, they capped. Wait, they capped. Wait, I missed the cap. When did that happen?
I am not entirely sure when that happened. I got to be honest with you. I had a pop-up happen on my screen, so I missed like the last 10 seconds.
You actually.
No, I'm not even joking. I had a pop-up right there in the middle of that fight. But, I mean, coming in here, the Catnap going to be online for Patico. The Meteor Strike for M21 as well. They are going to use that just to get some little escapability right there. I want to see what this Catnap is going to be used for, though, because it's such a fun thing to be able to just pick somebody up on the enemy team and take them off the map. Syria getting the better of Ruby once again. And there goes NDY as well. Both DPS immediately taken out by the Widowmaker. And there goes the entire team wipe for Romance Dawn.
Dude, this Widowmaker. Just disgusting. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This guy needs to be stopped at your next local convenience. But right now, Ruby, their space has been made for Subsun, right? It's not a situation for them to be in. They have some ultimates online too. That is going to be a little bit of a problem, but the Diva should be able to do enough. We'll have to see.
Override Protocol comes out. Syria has already taken down Ruby, though. Syria takes down NDY as well. And, I mean, the Override Protocol and the Infrasight's not going to be enough for Subsun. They're going to have to back off once again. I mean, Syria just keeps getting the better of Ruby in this Widow 1v1. And that's tough, right? Like, you can't... Wait a minute. M21 catching Haunt out alone here. This could be bad. Haunt going to go down, but Syria's already taken down 2 in the process. I mean, this Widowmaker just an absolute menace. Oh, that is a pixel. I don't even know how you hit that. That's crazy right there. Nano comes down, but Sad going to be taken off the map. I'm not sure how you don't get the Catnap credit for that, but all right.
It's because you don't like disconnect them from the Catnap. It's you just like dip them into the kill box of the out of bounds area. Okay, and we are going to see multiple resets from a lot of players of Subsun. So now this is kind of a scrappy fight, right? A minute and 15 left. Subsun really only have the window, maybe close. Romance Dawn going to be having both their DPS ults and a bomb of their own. But I mean, the Widowmaker ult doesn't really do too much. I mean, Syria could prove me wrong right here, right now. Pop that site like do, but we'll have to find out here.
Yeah, the tough thing is just trying to cross, right? You can't really cross right now because the second you step out, you're going to get hit by this Widowmaker. That's the problem. And M21 would essentially have to like escort some people across or somehow... Wait a minute, Ruby taking down Haunt. That could be the opening that Subsun is looking for. 1 kill already coming through. NDY taking down Syria. Here we go. If we're Subsun, we are in business now. We just got to finish off these couple of stragglers here. If you can, that would be the preferred method at least. Great defense matrix usage coming through from Sad to save their backline right there. And that's going to be huge because now you're going to be able to re-engage so much faster.
Yeah, and now Subsun gonna be pushing this objective. The Diva is still there for the touch, but it is gonna be an open situation. A lot of ults though for the side of Subsun. Sad has his bomb available, but so does M21, so we'll have to get the advantage here. It's kind of more of a neutral fight right now. Patico gonna be really close to that catnap again, which could be so devastating. We'll have to find out, of course. Oh man. Oh man.
Sad does lose mech. Bomb goes off. Patico taking down Pika Pepper. But DBRX went down in the process. The catnap coming through. Sad going to be taking a dip in the water. You see, they get the kill. They get the kill credit that time, right? So they didn't get the kill credit last time. So that's very strange to me that it went that way. But the fight goes the way of Romance Dawn. It just Subsun just. It feels like DBRX is getting picked off too early. A lot of these fights, like to my eye at least.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not as bad as Hollywood. That's the plus side here for Subsun.
Yeah.
Is the fact that they got that first point and they got it pretty close to getting second. So this is definitely doable for Subsun in order to hold this and guarantee the series. But they just have to play more careful, more conservative here, and just trying to kind of play for time here, especially on this first point. That's the main concern right now. You just cannot be losing as quickly as as they have in the past.
Well, I'll say too that. You mentioned it on Hollywood, but Widowmaker tends to work better defensively than offensively. It's harder to be the aggressor on Widow than it is to be the aggressee, right?
I think Sun Tzu said that.
Is that right?
I think that's an art of war. It's better to be the aggressor than the aggressee. I think he said that. Somebody fact check me, please. I don't think he did actually.
That would be crazy if I'm just.
That'd be a crazy call. Wait, can we get somebody in prod to fact check if that happened? If that's real?
My whole vocabulary is just outdated references, so that would make total sense. That would just make sense if I did that.
That would be so cool if your entire vocabulary was Sun Tzu quotes. Do you know how awesome you would sound like all of the time?
I feel like I'd sound really pretentious all the time. Well, but the door's opening, and here we are getting some cart progress.
Okay.
Ruby looking for some angles. XY has just decided that they don't want to be on this map anymore. Dropping off the map on this tracer. Ruby looking for a jump shot. Nothing really to speak of. Almost lands that shot there onto Syria. Syria looking for some shots as well. Again, riveting Widowmaker gameplay. Grappling up. Looking for a headshot. Not quite there. And here we are, just on the corner.
I love Widowmaker gameplay, and very interesting actually to see the double hit scan from the side of Subsun. They're going to be running the Cass and the Widowmaker. I don't know how that'll perform. It does shut something down like, okay, there goes Ruby. It shuts down Ruby, actually, immediately. I was going to say nothing, and then Ruby got shut down. But a nice trade onto Syria. It's going to take both Widowmakers off the objective here. And so a little bit of a nice percentage-wise in terms of, the gain here. As long as Han doesn't get taken down here. Oh, the Cass gets taken down. That's really bad. There's also a D-Mech on the side of Subsun, so that could just guarantee the first point here for Romance Dawn.
M21 taken down 2, though. The Baby Diva pistol and then the remech kill. And that's going to be a complete reset for Subsun. That's why you got to kill the Baby Diva quickly, right? But Syria then immediately coming back and refragging onto Ruby, leaving a good opening for Romance Dawn to potentially take this fight.
I don't know how I feel about the Cassidy pick. Okay, all right, we're going for a Hainan. Never mind. It's actually awesome and really cool, but it gets eaten entirely by DM. So not able to find anything. A huge anti-nade also, and then a nano onto Sad. There goes Syria. Ruby finding one. There's just so much happening right now. There's another pick. There's a bomb. I mean, what is even going on right now? This is why I do color.
There's a lot of trades just happening back and forth, like you mentioned. Looks like M21 does get back into mech. Ruby taking down XY, though, is really what you need if you're Subsun. You just need a couple more kills to go your way. Patico going down, though, could prove incredibly, I don't know, not good for you because you need that support alive that Jetpack Cat has been providing a surprising amount of value, actually, as the amplification matrix does come out here. Going to prompt the side of Romance Dawn to back up. Again, not really much happening here, just getting a complete fight reset as Syria and Ruby continue to try and find each other on this map.
Yeah, it just does seem like a Widow 1v1 for all time right now, but there's a minute and 20 left on the cart, and Subsun have been doing an incredibly good job. Oh, that's a nice kidnap. And the pulse bomb also getting eaten is actually beautiful, and it takes Sad into the backline here, so they're going to be demeched, and that's going to be a minute left on the clock. And I mean, Romance Dawn seeming like they're in all the control right now.
What a good ante that comes through, forces out that immortality field, and Ruby getting Syria and then immediately getting traded out, but Pika Peppa going down too. You're at a point where this might be last fight. I don't know. I'm always hesitant to say whether it'll for sure be last fight, but I'm thinking this is going to be last fight territory. Pika Peppa going to be swapping on to the Juno for this last fight. Captive Sun going to be online for Romance Dawn. And Subsun not really having anything yet. The closest thing they have is that Deadeye, and we saw the silly haha Deadeye attempted last time. But yeah, maybe they'll have some more luck this time.
You know, maybe that is definitely an option. But we'll have to see, of course, if that high noon comes into play here, as Ruby is incredibly low, but is going to be healed up. The Alari ult is going to be popped here from Haunt. We'll have to see if it gets eaten or not. That's the it's a huge Alari ult.
Captive Sun does come through, basically gets 2 kills. They don't get the kill credit for it, but that is definitely what just happened right there. M21 going to be on this point. Sad, not quite able to get back in mech yet, but the healing coming through from Haunt and XY in the back line, getting these kills. M21 going to be dropping the bomb right on point. Can they get any kills with it? No kills coming through, but the remech once again coming through. Fight is just kind of going back and forth. No team can really leave this cart right now, so the two divas just kind of sitting here and looking at each other. Right? It's a really awkward circumstance to have to be stuck in. The hack coming through from Syria, pulse bomb coming down, but M21 managing to live through that. It looks like they are going to be losing their mech, though, but NDY takes down Syria in the process, so you've at least gotten that trade. If you can get like one more support kill here, you should be able to do something with this. Sad going to be having to pop that bomb just so they can try and get back in mech. Gets the 2-piece, but immediately gets taken down by Ruby. But Pika Pepper going to be taking down Patico, and Haunt taking down DBRX, and that is finally going to be the point cap coming through from Romance Dawn.
Yeah, it took them a really long time to get the job done, but it does get done eventually. And now there's 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the game, right? Romance Dawn have to lock in. They need to do something. Oh, I don't like this backline from Subsun. I know they were doing it for touches, but now they need to swap. They're on Lucio Cat with a diva. I just you can't do that. That's what in the industry we call bad. I mean, they do have ults, so this could be going the way of Subsun if they pop their ults correctly. But we start with Array here, and we'll have to see if Romance Dawn can get the job done.
I feel like that's kind of an early orbital Ray because I don't see anybody from Subsun. You know, maybe, I do have pretty bad vision. I'm not gonna lie to you about that, but I didn't see anybody from Subsun right there. So that orbital Ray just getting no value whatsoever. Catnap going to be coming online here, and there he goes. Patico looking for a kill on that Catnap, not really managing to get anything, but the sound barrier coming through going to help the side of Subsun secure these eliminations. I wonder though a little bit, is this where DBRX is going to go swap off of that Lucio, or are we just going to continue to play that in this next fight?
I mean, like, there are options on your table, but I don't love some of them. The Pulse Bomb is online, so is the Alari ult, but this is such a scary position for Subsun. They don't really have anything in their arsenal besides a high noon, but it's been getting shut down every single time. This Pulse Bomb and this Alari ult, yes, they can both be getting eaten by the diva, but I mean, we're going into like 2 more fights for Romance Dawn. Oh, you...
Great shots coming through from Ruby and NDY right there. That looked like a Widow body shot followed by a cast shot. So that was great target focus. And I mean, if you're Romance Dawn, you should probably just wait. I don't think you should engage while you're still down a player, but it looks like that's what they're going to do. Try and just take this high ground from the side of Subsun. Here comes the Captive Sun. Haunt trying to fly over this wall, looking for a shot onto somebody. And does go down to Ruby in the process, but XY Ref takes down DBRX as well. So now you're just left with this Jetpack Cat solo healing. And here's the Deadeye, the flying Deadeye. Can we get anything with it? Oh no, no.
But
why did we drop our cast right there? Why did we do that? Why did we do that? We had the mech.
I don't know, but it seems like Subsun seemed to be at an advantage. There's the bomb from Sad. Maybe you can try to get something done. It finds... What?
Oh yeah, Sad getting that 1 kill. Trades are coming through, but it is seeming like it's going to eventually, yes it is, it's going to go the way of Subsun. Subsun going to be taking this series in a 3-1 fashion.
What a disaster of a last fight there. Somebody dies to the bomb. We drop our cast into the back line. It was all. Honest to God, I'm gonna do this. Shout out to Syria, man. This guy was going nuclear on hit scan. Unfortunately, just not able to get the job done at the end of the day. But I mean, hey, Subsun getting the job done, making that a 3-1 series, pretty enjoyable to watch. But it's going to be 3-1 Subsun, and Romance Dawn, they can go back into the practice room, and this is definitely VOD review for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Subsun able to make a comp outside of that Queen comp work on Rialto. They were really struggling on Hollywood, but Rialto looking much better when they had the Diva at their disposal.
Yeah, I think that was Romance Dawn's map to win, really, was that Rialto. And so now, like, Romance Dawn, I mean, a lot of things went wrong, but I think it should have gone in your favor. I just think that there was individual picks that came through that just kind of changed so much. But, at the end of the day, shout out to both of these teams. I think they both played incredibly well. And yeah, man, yeah. I mean, that was a good one to cast. I enjoyed casting that personally.
Yeah, really competitive series there from both of these teams. But y'all are going to want to stick around. We're going to go to a short little break here. We're going to have Maple from Subsun in a quick interview in about 3 minutes here. So stick around. You're going to want to hear what Maple has to say. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here with Maple, DPS player from Subsun. All right, Maple, how you feeling after that match tonight?
It was fun. I'm feeling pretty good. It was a nice win. Last map, but not that big of a deal.
Okay, then real quickly, I wanted to ask. Hollywood was definitely Hollywood was an interesting one, right? Like, I'm just gonna, off rip. It was an unfortunate loss. I mean, you guys got a tick, but it was essentially a full hold. And I have to wonder, is that because of the Diva ban, or is that because you guys think that like the dive maps are a little bit on your guys' weaker side, considering you guys do play that Junker Queen all the time?
Yeah, it definitely has to do with the dive maps. We struggle a little with it, but we've been working on it a lot. Another part is they're very good with hit scan players and range. We're quite good at it as well, but they definitely had a better hold for that.
Yeah, I get that. And I do want to ask you guys. You guys played incredibly well today, right? You guys did play incredibly well, and you guys took that in a 3-1 fashion. But I do want to ask you guys. We are past that mid-season point. We are past the mid-season tournament, and we're getting close to the that grand finals era, that part of the season. And so now I have to ask you guys. You guys played pretty well today, but the question still is. It's looming over your guys' head, where it's like, are you guys still a Junker Queen? Are you guys a Junker Queen one-trick team? And is there a problem with how you guys might perform in the postseason if you guys do make it to there because of that hindrance?
I wouldn't say we're completely relying on Queen. Today we showed we can play Diva as well, and we've got a couple other things that we're not really planning on showing yet until postseason starts, a team that we can really have to go all out for. But we'll see when it comes.
Okay.
All right, got a couple of things in the back pocket there, says Maple. And, final thing here for you, Maple. You can feel free, shout out anybody or anyone that you might want to right now.
I think today it has to be DBRX. Usually a main support player, but recently has been forced onto Kiriko 24/7 with our flex support being gone for a bit. And he's been filling that role as best as he could.
Well, all right, great job filling that role. That's a very different role to have to play. That's been Maple, and good luck to y'all in the rest of your season. I look forward to being able to cast some more of y'all's games.
Thank you.
Well, all right, Mega. That was our game today. Subsun taking it 3-1 over Romance Dawn. Pretty competitive series overall. There were some moments where it wasn't. Like you mentioned, Hollywood, not necessarily a super competitive map. Lijiang wasn't competitive at times as well. So, there's that. But any final thoughts on this series?
No, I really enjoyed the series. I do think that, I did come in thinking that this was going to be Junker Queen favored team, but I think that they proved that they can play other things, and I'm actually excited for when that postseason hits. What other things they'll have to bring out of their arsenal. And I mean, listen, I had a ton of fun. I would love to do this again with you, absolutely. And you guys at home, be sure to tune in for Mercy GL.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to have to agree with you right there. But shout out to Headrammer on the producer side. Shout out to Soav being our observer tonight. Thank you for casting tonight with me, Mega Ninja, and keep your eyes peeled on those notifications. We're always having games streaming on our various CGL channels. But that's going to do it for us tonight, and a good night, everybody.